Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. We are talking the Titan, the October Halloween 2021 tank. This is a tier 7 heavy with in-game animation when your hit points drop below 50%. That back skirt, along with a armor plate on the lower glacis, snaps up, and that side skirt moves forward, giving you additional armor for the second half of your tank's life. You can see that white smoke turns black, along with a really hot looking engine and some pistons there pulling out. So some really neat little animations on this tank. We'll take a closer look at this in slow motion, and then we're gonna jump in and do a review of this tank. So let's jump on into the garage now. All right, guys, here's a Titan HN in my garage. And yes, I dropped the $10 and some additional gold in order to get this tank and do a review for you. So I would like to ask in return that you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and try to leave a comment down below and help me continue to grow the channel. I did a video yesterday on the secret project here and how to get this tank. So if you're still a little bit of unclear, because there's some decision making in there, please check out that video. But you can see this tank in the garage. We've got this armor down the bottom that flips up when your hit points go below 50%. And then you've got this spaced armor that's currently protecting the back half of the tank, the engine, and it slides forward here as we saw in that previous animation. So let's just run through the consumables and setup that I have. Repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions, running field rations, improved fuel, and tinned food. 25, 9, and 6, making sure we're buying our premium with silver and not gold. And then for the all-important equipment section. So I'm running the gun rammer. We'll see here in a second when we compare this tank. The damage per minute is pretty low. The pen on the tank is midline. It's not great and it's not bad. So with this setup, expect to have to shoot some gold ammo, but we are getting a higher damage per minute number. Running defense system, improved optics, enhanced gun laying time. Really, as a tank, heavy, you're going to be close up, so the supercharge isn't that much of an issue. So that's why I'm running the enhanced gun laying drive. Right now, running the enhanced armor. May switch back over and get those additional 90 hit points because I'm just not solid on this armor profile. I'm getting penned quite a bit. But for the most part, I have been able to hold on to my hit points. So for now, this seems to be working. Engine accelerator and vertical stabilizer, again, on this tank. You're going to be up close. You're going to be moving. And so you want to get those shots in more accurately over a refined gun, which is primarily for a tank that you shoot while stationary. Toolbox and consumable delivery system. All right, guys, here's blitzstars.com. We've got the Titan, the AMX, the T29, the Nameless, which is obviously another collector tank, and then the Tiger 1, which is one of the best tier 7 heavy tanks out there for comparison's sake. And you'll see off the bat, this 105 millimeter gun is very similar to the American guns and the gun on the AMX. 180 mil of pen, which, like I said, puts you right in the middle. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest. It's not up here over 200 like the Tiger. And your damage per minute right there, just under 2,000, whereas the Tiger's at 2,200. But it does fit in line with all of these other tanks with a similar gun. And you can see the aim time is good at 2.08, but the dispersion is high at 0.398. The other downside here is 7 degrees of gun depression. So, that is a little bit of a trade-off, I think, with this tank. The downside I don't like as much about this tank is the speed. It feels very, very slow. And to put that into perspective here, look at this power to weight ratio. Yes, all of these tanks are sitting here at the mid 30s for speed, but like the AMX has 67% more power to weight ratio, and that's your acceleration. That's getting up to top speed. So this tank is just underpowered and slow. And to me, that's being the biggest drawback. I like a faster, heavy tank. I'll take less armor and more mobility any day of the week here. So, 180 millimeters on the turret, 130 on the front of the hull. Puts us kind of just in the middle of all of these tanks. And that's what I'm saying. The armor, I'm still trying to work out and figure out how best to angle this tank. But we'll get to that in a second. All right, guys. So we got to pull up Blitz Hangar here to run through and look at the armor on the tank, just because it's not an armor inspector just yet, but gives me another opportunity just to show you here about the firepower. We're running middle of the pack, but when we look at gun handling, we've got some nice green statistics here. But then when we get down to mobility, look at all of this red. It's horrible. Tank does not move well at all. So yeah, let's take a look at this tank here. You can see quite a bit of spaced armor. Now, keep in mind when we look at the sides here, this portion stays at the back for the first half of your hit points. Then when your hit points go below 50%, this slides forward. Same with this spaced armor here in the front. This stays down, and then when you get below 50, it moves up. So what's underneath here is 100 mil. It's very flat. So at the beginning of the game, your armor is just not that good. There's a smaller strip below here that's 45 mil. But this armor here sits at 60 mil plus what's behind it. So it's actually, second half of the game, you're getting a nice little boost in armor, which is unusual. Looking at this tank with 130 on the front, 226 effective because of the nice sloped armor. So it does have a decent little armor profile here, 80 on the sides. So keep that in mind as you play it, and we'll show you what that looks like in battle here in just a second. All right, guys, just wanted to take a quick look at the Titan armor here from an in-game perspective. And you can see with regular AP, that's a lot of red. This tank already has the lower plate pulled up. But if we switch over to APCR, we can go right through that. He was able to shoot me on my side because of the angle I pulled out at. Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Hey, we've got the first battle here on New Bay in the Titan, and we are bottom tier. Interesting setup here. They've got 2 heavies to our 3 heavies, so wanted to look back and make sure my team is going with me. Now, want you to notice here, we have to be driving downhill in order to get to top speed. This tank takes forever to accelerate. We kind of talked about that in the comparison of this tank. The power to weight ratio on this tank is just horrible, which means that it does not accelerate very well. However, you can see here, nice little snapshot. It's got the accuracy, the aim time. The dispersion on it, statistically is not great, but I haven't noticed that here in battle. Now, looking at the mini-map, they have got half their team split. So I want to push up. The last thing I really want to do here is be taking 3 shots from the Annihilator. I double check to make sure they're not on the bridge and they're going to shoot me. Somebody's got to go here. So I'm going to go ahead, go. And, I was hoping that pulling out at that steep of an angle, he might bounce a couple shots off the front. And it does not happen. We don't pen our second shot. And I just want to keep him here, pull back, and get a little bit of help from my team. And they did a great job here of us all rushing in and finishing those 2 guys that, went by themselves here. I did drop a lot of damage there, but we're still not over 50%. And so, that animation hasn't taken place yet, and our lower plate is still down, unfortunately. Would like the whole game for that thing to be up. Kind of expected those 4 guys over there to push on into the cap, and I'm sitting back here just waiting with this T25 AT. I'm going to see if we can't side scrape and get a shot off here. Again, being conservative with our hit points. And just they pulled back before I was able to get that shot off. And to me, now it looks like they are moving on towards the middle of the map. So I'm gonna move on over here as well. It just wasn't ready to get that shot off. I should have been. Um, but I figure he's gonna pull forward again, and there it is. We get a track, pull back behind the wall here, and I'll wait for the reload, and then I'll drop the adrenaline. Now we'll drop the adrenaline. We know this guy is on a longer reload, and I should have aimed in there. That was my bad. But this T25 AT here has been with me, helping me out this whole game, and that pushes our armor forward. Come on, defender, back up to me so I can get a shot in there. Yep. And let's turn and rotate towards the Panther here. T25 helping me out again, and we managed to bounce that shot from the Panther. So, but we did not manage to survive the T28. We took a couple shots there on the upper part of the hull, as you can see. But the game is going to finish, obviously, with victory here. And luckily, in this battle, I did not have to move very much. 2,000 damage was level 2. Some higher numbers out on this tank already, which is surprising, seeing as this is the first day out. Let's see. It was just all damage there. So, gives you an idea there about the armor and the accuracy on the shooting. All right, guys. So here we are on Castilla. And you've already seen the first bit of this game. 4 heavies to our 4 heavies. Now, you know, I am going to make a run for it. This is maybe my first game in this tank. And so I'm going to make a run for the area up here, which is a nice little safe spot. But because this tank is so slow, I want you to watch just how many guys are able to get shots on me here. Luckily, we bounced one of them. Just wiggling there, but we take a big shot from the KV. Although he takes a little bit more damage than me, and he's taken out of the game. And we're just trying to back up at this point in time. And so, because I was kind of out in the open, those guys were a little bit too aggressive trying to get shots into me. So, you know, while I'd like to be a little bit faster and be in this position here with more hit points than I am now, you know, I think that play drew out their team and we were able to get a couple quick kills here. But you'll see the difficulty in this tank of just driving up hills. It does not have decent power. We do manage to get that shot in. Now we're down to 300 hit points, but kind of a lopsided battle here. See if there's anybody else to spot. Nope. They've moved forward. Don't know where their TD is at this point in time, so figure that the best idea now is just to push around with the rest of my team, even though the JP4 is saying don't push. I think we have to push into this corner here. We've pretty much got them surrounded. We'll see how this tank does with our 7 degrees of gun depression. Got an opposing Titan. He's going to back straight up into my shot. Very good. SU 122.44. Let's see what this gun depression looks like. Nope, that ain't going to work. Udell is going to drive right into my shot. Thank you very much. And just seeing if there's a way we can work this hill in order to get our gun depression. And he goes ahead and shoots. Missed that shot, but we're going to hit adrenaline because he's going to come back around here. And yeah, we get our 4th kill, but only 1,000 damage. The 45 TP there is AFK. He's going to go down before we can make it up this hill. And this tank is just so sluggish. So sluggish. If you like slow tanks, this really is the tank for you. But for me, it's a difficult little play style. There, and you see as we get patrol duty by helping our team damage at least 3 other people. So we'll see where that pulls up. Even though we only did 1,000 damage, we are way above everyone else in XP. And that's because here's 509 for spotting, here's 980 for spotting, and here's 763 for spotting. So being aggressive where possible definitely helps out in your experience, which definitely helps out in the amount of credits that you make for winning the battle. All right, guys, Winter Malinovka, and you really get to see a good view of the PBR graphics here on this, with the snow getting covered the further we get into the battle.
Time to roll out.
So yeah, you know, I do think the T-29 is a better tank. Yeah, this tank does look pretty cool. The graphics on it are great. The animation on it is really neat too. But for me, the tank just is a little bit too slow. Cromwell here is just going for it. But there you go. The gun is nice. You can snap shots in like that. But again, this is so slow. I like to be able to get around the map. I like to, have options. I maybe should have switched over to HE there on the back of the Cromwell, but we'll go ahead and take the damage. Sit here and cap out B. Still haven't spotted their entire team, even though they've lost 2 tanks already. And the Eraser's going to come up here, and he's going to spot up 3 of them. We know the KV-2's to our right. Don't want to pull up too far. And I think that 320 is a kind of interesting number coming from a KV. I'm going to go and explore this corner. And yeah, sure enough, there he is, sitting on top of the hill for us just to pick apart here. He's got a little gun. So don't even have to worry about the big gun there. You can just push on around here. He's just going to drive right into us. Nope. Just let us finish him off there. Turn back around. The graphics do look good. You've got to admit that. And here we go. Getting back up to speed again. Maybe that engine power boost might be more effective on this tank than adrenaline. Here we go. We get a look again at the armor on the opposing Titan. Put one into him. And let's swing on around to get to Churchill next. Consider who killed. Swing back around. 1 tank left. 40 TP. And sure enough, thanks for driving into my line of sight. And we'll finish him off. So, outside of its speed, everything else on this tank is pretty neat, especially the animation. Is it worth $10? Probably. If you like tier 7, if you can complete all of your missions and all of the other stuff involved in it, unfortunately, that's how much you're going to have to spend in order to get the tank for this year's Halloween event. So, there, guys, is just a breakdown of the Titan HN. And of course, remember to get educated, not fingered. And if you're liking my content, don't forget to hit subscribe. Appreciate it, guys. Littlefinger out.